jump, as you can see from the book, there's no other examples. We're going to jump right into the guided practice to practice adding these mixed numbers. Our first problem is 1 7/8 plus 1 1/4. Copy that into your spiral. Now, your first job is to estimate, because that's what the direction says. Estimate and then find each sum and then check for reasonableness. So if we estimate, I know 1 7/8, is it closer to 1, 1 1/2, or 2? We know this one, probably most of you are shouting out, oh, that's closer to 2. Good. If not, you can take the time and make your number line. But for time purposes now, we're going to move on, and if that's something you need to see in class, let me know. 1 1/4, you're going to say, oh yeah, Miss Sharber, that's closer to what? 1. Good. So this goes and rounds to 1. So then you have 2 plus 1 is 3. That's our estimate. 2 will be about 3. Now let's go and do our actual problem. 1 7/8 plus 1 1/4. First step is to add the fractions. Can we add the fractions as they are like that? No. Good. Why? They don't have a common denominator. Good. Now most of you know that 4 and 8, you can change the denominator and make it 8. So 1 7/8 is going to stay 1 and what? 7/8. But now I need to change the 4s to 8s. 4 times what gives me 8? 2. Good. 1 times 2 gives me 2. Now our next step says to add the fractions. Now I have my common denominator. I can do that. So now what is 7 plus 2? 9. Good. So this becomes 9/8. What type of fraction is 9/8? Good. It's an improper fraction. So now this is where we need to take it and make it a mixed number. So you're going to take 9, your numerator goes in the house, 8 goes out of the house. What is 9 divided by 8? 1. Good. 1 times 8 gives us 8. 9 take away 8 gives us 1. So this becomes 1 1/8. Now our next step tells me to add the whole numbers. Well, we got to go back to our original problem. This is a whole number, and this is a whole number. What's 1 plus 1? 2. Good. So I'm going to put over here plus 2, just for seeing purposes. Now let's add what we have. 1 plus 2 gives me 3, and my fraction is 1/8. So our final answer is 3 1/8. Now let's check for reasonableness. What was our estimate? Our estimate was 3. Is 3 1/8 close to 3? Yes, it is. So hopefully we've done everything correctly. All right, good job, 5th grade. If you need to, please write me some questions. All right, let's go to example number 2. We have 2 2/5 plus 5 5/6. Again, you want to estimate first. Okay, now 2 2/5. Some of you might be like, not sure, is that closer to 2 or the 2 1/2 or the 3? Most of you know it's between 2 and 2 1/2, but I did down here really quick just to help boost people. This was the number line, and you see here this is 2/5 right here. So we know that this is closer to the halfway point than 0 or 5. So we take 2 2/5 to make it 2 halves. 5 5/6, we know that's closer to 6. And so then we add 2 1/2 plus 6 to get us 8 1/2. So this is our estimate. All right, now let's go and do the actual problem. 2 2/5 plus 5 5/6. Can we add the fractions the way they are? No, not at this point, because they do not have a common denominator. Okay, so most of us are all sitting there, oh, Miss Sharber, just do 5 times 6 to get the common denominator. And yes, you may do that. Okay, and make equivalent fractions. So let's start here. 5 times what gives me 30? 6. Good. What is 2 times 6? 12. So now we have 2 and 12/30ths. Now we have to change this 5 6 to make it equivalent. 6 times what gives me 30? 6 times 5. 5 times 5 gives me what? 25. Good. Now, if you need to check back in your notes, now what do? Good. You add the fractions. What is 12 plus 25? Gives you what? 37. Good. Over 30. Okay. Now, what does that give us, 5th grade? What type of fraction is that? Improper fraction. Good. So now what do I need to do? It tells me to change an improper fraction back to a what? A mixed number. Good job. So 37 is going to go in your house. 30 is going to go outside. How many times does 30 fit into 37? Only once. Good. Now, remember again, 5th grade, we can't do 3 divided by 30, so either you leave it blank, put your x, or a 0. I'm going to put our x to remind us of our multiplication. So now 1 times 30 gives me 30. left over is 7. So now I have 1 and 7/30. Now that I've changed that to the mixed number, we need to add our whole numbers. The whole numbers are what? 2, 5, and 1 now. So 2 plus 5 plus 1 gives us what? 8. 8 becomes our whole number, and what's our fraction? 7/30. 8 and 7/30 is our final answer. Our estimate was 8.5. Is that close? Yes, it is, so it is reasonable. All right, good job. Let's do the next one.